John A. Balcerzak is an American former police officer from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Balcerzak and Joseph T. Gabrish gained national attention in 1991, when they were suspended with pay and later fired for having handed over an injured 14-year-old boy to serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer despite bystanders' protests, as well as for the homophobic remarks made by the officers during the incident. The officers appealed their termination and were subsequently reinstated with back pay of $55,000 each by Judge Robert J. Perrins. Balcerzak served as president of the Milwaukee Police Association from 2005 to 2009. Balcerzak retired from the Milwaukee Police Department in 2017. Jeffrey Dahmer incident. 3 women, Sandra Smith, Tina Spivey, and Nicole Childress, discovered the victim, 14-year-old Konarak Sinthasampone, after he had managed to escape from Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment, naked, bruised, bleeding from his anus and heavily under the influence of drugs. Childress called 911 and Balcerzak, Joseph T. Gabrish, and Richard Porobkin responded, along with a fire department ambulance. Ambulance personnel thought Sinthasampone needed treatment but were sent away by the officers. Though the Laotian immigrant had been in the country for 10 years and spoke English fluently, in his drugged and brain-injured state, he was unable to communicate his situation to authorities or to the 3 women. Dahmer convinced the police that the boy was his 19-year-old lover against the protests of the 3 women. Smith recognized the boy from the neighborhood and the 3 women reiterated their concerns but were told to shut the hell up by the officers, who were convinced the incident was a domestic dispute. The 3 officers returned Sinthasampone to Dahmer's apartment. Balcerzak said he smelled nothing unusual but Gabrish said he did detect a foul odor, likely emanating from the body of Anthony Tony Hughes, who had been murdered by Dahmer 3 days earlier. The officers listed the incident as a domestic squabble between homosexuals and did not otherwise act. Approximately 10 minutes after the police left, Glenda Cleveland, Childress's aunt and Smith's mother, called police and was connected with Balcerzak, who dismissed her concern and declined to take the names of her niece and daughter as witnesses. Within an hour, Dahmer murdered Sinthasampone by strangling him, performed oral sex upon his corpse, and dismembered him. For the murders of Sinthasampone and 15 others from 1978 to 1991, Dahmer would be sentenced to 16 consecutive terms of life imprisonment without parole in 1992. In the aftermath of Dahmer's arrest, an audio tape of Balcerzak and Gabrish making homophobic statements to their dispatcher and cracking jokes about having reunited the lovers caused heavy criticism. They were fired while Porobkin was put on job probation for 1 year. By failing to check Dahmer's identification, the officers did not learn that he was a sex offender with a 1988 child molestation conviction where the victim was Sinthasampone's older brother, who was 13 at the time. Milwaukee later paid the boy's family a sum of $850,000 to settle a lawsuit over police handling of the situation. Both officers appealed their termination. Judge Robert J. Perrins ruled in favor of the officers and they were reinstated in June 1994. Service as union official. In May 2005, Balcerzak was elected president of the Milwaukee Police Association, defeating Sebastian Rocklaw by a vote of 521 to 453. As president, he was criticized for failing to protect officers from mandatory overtime and not supporting African American officer Alfonso Glover, who was charged with homicide on May 30, 2006, and later died by suicide on the same day. By June 2006, the union vice president had resigned because of disagreements with Balcerzak's leadership style. A petition to remove Balcerzak was filed and a recall election was held in August 2006. The results were 213 for a recall and 397 to retain him. At an October 9, 2009, trustee election, Balcerzak was not re-elected as a trustee and vacated his position as president on December 31, 2009.